my dad went with someone else recently. But I think the poor guy got cheated on by his wife.
Oh.
And I remember my mom told me that. And then I got my hair cut by him next, and it was just like, I knew that. I didn't ask about it or anything, but just...
Yeah,
it's like, geez, that's really rough.
Good stuff. Do you have any notes for for the room? Anything you feel like we can add?
Any notes? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Oh shit.
You're fine.
It's a nice, pretty maple there. Yeah. I mean, you should see how bland my room is. I barely have any decorations on. I'd love to add more, but
Yeah, we you see the the Minecraft porch actually?
I do. That's wonderful.
So we can actually light it up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a couple of them and put them around. Hopefully we can put a couple here because then I don't have that camera angle.
Oh, that's really clever.
But yeah, feel free to grab a mug, please.
All right, let's see.
Any mug you feel.
What is this? Chiang Mai or something?
Yeah. So that's Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai. Okay.
Yeah, city I went to in Thailand.
Nice. Okay.
So that was it's up in the north, nestled right against the mountains, and that's where I grabbed the motorcycle from Bangkok and drove all the way up there, and then took it from there and went up to Pai too. So that was a crazy place.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah, and feel free to grab any tea you would like.
Let's see what we got.
So we have 6 flavors. So we have lemon ginger with honey, a Moroccan mint, pumpkin spice chai, juniper mint honey, and a Thai tea and a vanilla tea. So feel free to grab whichever one you'd like.
This would be the play.
Yeah, and that one's also decaffeinated as well.
Okay, that'd be a good thing too.
Let's see. Well, if you have Chiang Mai, I think I have to do Thailand.
Okay. Let's see. And this one's decaf as well. I think I might get the juniper mint honey.
Good choice.
Yeah. So have you been to all the places on the mugs there?
Yeah. So
it's really nice.
they're actually all Starbucks mugs.
Yeah, I noticed.
Funnily enough, so because Starbucks is an international chain, I'm able to get a consistent art style.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
So it's probably my pride and joy when it comes to them is, I do kind of want to cheat a little bit and purchase a couple from online of places that I've been to.
Yeah, but these ones you all got while you were there.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, while I was backpacking, right, I couldn't carry around 10 Starbucks mugs. Yeah. the entire 3 months.
That would be quite the thing. Yeah.
So that's
a lot of other stuff to focus.
Yeah.
On.
So that's why I only have 3 from that backpacking trip. But yeah, it'd be really nice to add to the collection. They actually have one for Santa Barbara that I could purchase.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think that one's a must.
Yeah, so really excited to get that one once I have some more funds. But for the time being, I stick with my, 8 that I have?
8.
Yeah, and they have ones for every U.S. state as well.
Wow.
So it's quite the collection.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It's a really cool piece there.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see them, and I feel like it's one thing that really connects a lot of people really well. It's just being able to have the mugs, and it's a cool visual thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But dude, I mean, tell me about your Zen Buddhism class, bro. Yeah. So what is it? What's going on? You keep having lunch with the professor, like clearly it's going well for you.
Yeah, clearly. Although I suppose today I've been trying to work on the essay for it, and that hasn't been going too well. I've been stressing out about that, but we'll ignore that. We'll pretend that isn't real.
Put that to the side.
Because that's what I've been doing. I've been pretending it doesn't exist, and it's been working out well so far.
Yeah, be careful. This tea is very hot, by the way. Yeah, I just burnt half of my tongue. But
go on and get the other half.
I'll try not to.
But yeah, this class. So yeah, it started off we covered the kind of early Buddhism starting in India.
Okay.
Where the Buddha
prince.
was born in he's a prince. He's kind of in between India and Nepal, the foothills of the Himalayas.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he's kind of a prince in a very cushioned lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then one day he like goes out to the city and sees a dying person, and then another day he sees an old person and like a sick person. And then he sees like a monk, and then he realizes, he wants to become a monk like that.
A monk for what? Because it's like Buddhist monks, right?
Yeah,
but this is pre-Buddhism,
Yeah, this is pre-Buddhism. So I don't remember any specifics, like details on it, but just some kind of wandering ascetic who's kind of just either fasting or some other stuff for some religious purpose. There was like Hinduism was a big religion at that time,
right? Especially in India.
Yeah. And then there were some other movements called like Sramana movements, which were these more kind of offshoots. I know the Professor Greg compared them to kind of like hippie movements.
Okay. Is this like Protestantism to Christianity? As like for, or are these just like, because Hinduism isn't one religion, right? It's it's the religions of India, right? It's just
and of course that I don't know enough really about Hinduism to comment on it much, but yeah, these were more. I'm not quite sure on the details of them.
Yeah.
But so we start with like the Buddha there, and then the kind of basic philosophy and the principles of that.
Okay.
And then it was really cool to just watch like those ideas migrate up the coast of Asia there.
Yeah. I mean, it's really big in like Japan. I mean, when I went to Japan, it was like, Shintoism, Buddhism was the thing, and it's like, it starts Southeast Asia and India.
Yeah, and then you watch it. I think a favorite part was when we got to China.
Yeah.
Like we first read like a bit on Taoism and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we watched as ideas from Taoism and Buddhism kind of merge in some, and they like overlapped in some spots.
Okay.
And they kind of contradicted in others.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really cool to like watch those ideas kind of just synthesize, and it kind of came up with a few new philosophies.
So for China, was Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, did they all come at the same time, or how did that work?
No. So Buddhism came later because it came from India there. This guy Bodhidharma, which if you look up the names of like Bodhidharma and these other kind of mythological figures, it's very funny drawings. Okay. Like they look like caricatures. They they got like big bushy eyebrows and huge wide eyes.
Yeah.
So that's a very just interesting part of it. But yeah, Taoism and Confucianism were like in China.
Oh, already.
Kind of invented in China, developed in China.
Yeah.
I don't know the specific dates of when, but an interesting thing is like even though they're seen as philosophies, they were kind of started as like just philosophies for like governing.
Yeah. Okay.
They were meant to be for like, people, officials that would be governing. They'd be like, oh, follow these kind of rules. This philosophy will help you become a good leader. So
is this class more of like the history of Buddhism, or is it like some practicing as well, or?
Mostly history. Like, there's no, not really the practicing. Although, like, some assignments, like, there was a video we watched of, like, by some actual Zen monastery of, like, how to do seated Zazen meditation, where you put, like, your feet on entangled there, and then you do that. But,
So, I mean, you have your beautiful head of hair, but has taking this class, like, made you want to, shave it all off and go to the foothills?
I've been thinking, I was trying out a face filter there, like, what would the bald look like?
Did it work, or what was going on?
Oh, no, I'm just joshing with you there.
Could you keep the hair, or do you have to shave it off?
I don't know. I haven't seen a monk with hair. I suppose you do. I don't know what the philosophy behind it is, though.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe it's no attachment to stuff. Because that's a big part in Buddhism. Like, no attachment to
you are pretty... I would be pretty attached to that.
I mean, it's attached to me.
Yeah. yeah. But no, it's something that like I've really considered. I mean, just for like the lore of life,
That's a good motivator.
But I don't know. I feel like there's something to like relinquishing yourself from everything, right? Just stripping yourself down, being one with the mind. Even you don't make a wage. Everything's donated to you.
Yeah.
It's just
it'd be calming. Less things to worry about. I think it'd be a simpler life with less moving parts and everything.
Especially in the mountains, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And not to get too nerdy, but light pollution and everything, mountains don't have as much light pollution.
That is very nice.
There's something about just being there among nature and, the stars once again. If you were to do it, is there any place like you would want to go?
Oh, I wouldn't know any specific place, but we were watching a lecture today, and there's just this beautiful monastery or temple.
Yeah.
It had these big redwood looking trees, and then you could see the temple behind it, and that was just really pretty.
Do you know where that was?
I have no clue.
Well, maybe that's a good thing,
Maybe there. That would be a good place.
Yeah, maybe it's in California. Maybe it's in Santa Cruz.
Maybe.
I mean,
Santa Cruz Zen Monastery. I wouldn't put it past it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There are, I believe, a few places. I know we've gone to something on like Santa Cruz or adjacent to Santa Cruz, and I think it might have been some religious thing as well. But it was a very pretty hiking trail, and I remember going through there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, no, like I don't know, like very many better places in the world to like be raised in than Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
You know, you're just there. I mean, redwood trees everywhere. It's just like because they're big trees, right?
There definitely are. Yeah, and you go up to UCSC or Nicene Marks, and you can go hiking. And it's really pretty.
And that's like up in the mountains too, huh?
Yeah, there are some big up in the mountain places.
Yeah, I see videos online all the time where it's like it's like I'm just trying to get to class, and you're just like walking through the forest.
I've seen those too. That's cool. It's funny to see UCSC like in a different context, because for me it's always UCSC's up there,
right? It's like in your backyard.
Yeah, really, it's like 5-10 minutes from my house.
Yeah, did you do anything there with like mathematics wise, or
no? Not really. I know one friend who like researched something with a grad student, like did a small research thing there.
Yeah.
And I've met some of the professors there.
Yeah.
There's like Marty Wiseman's a neat guy, and there's this funny guy Ralph Abraham.
Okay.
He's very big into psychedelics and math.
That's Santa Cruz's.
Yeah, very much so. And I think he has a car with a license plate that says like min-max or something.
Okay. So, but psychedelics and math?
Yeah.
Okay, what? In what way? Like
well, I'm not sure, so I don't really know what to defend his perspective with. But
okay, yeah.
Apparently he does a lot of fractal geometry. That's very psychedelic.
Fractal part, yeah.
And then chaos theory, which is also kind of, big moving things and very fractal-ish.
How do you feel about chaos theory? Like, does it scare you? Just like, I guess, not to get too philosophical, but let's just go there, right? Like, chaos theory is, one small change can lead to, even in deterministic systems, drastic things. Look at double pendulums and different things. Like, I guess, do you believe we have free will?
Do I care? It's the real question.
I mean, I feel like I care.
Why would I care? See, if I don't, then I'm just doing whatever.
Right.
And if I do have free will, then I'm also just doing whatever I choose. So it's like, either way, it feels like I have free will. I don't know.
I guess, yeah. I mean, for me, it's just more like having power to do things. Like, I really hold a lot of pride in thinking that my accomplishments, like, I changed something about myself and made that choice to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like chaos theory kind of, in some ways, does it support free will, or...
Because if it has anything to...
I mean, look at quantum mechanics, right?
Like, I'm looking.
Quantum mechanics, it's almost like scary in some sense, where it almost like disputes free will in some sense, right? Everything's deterministic from something.
Yeah.
Why would you even get to think or choose things if everything came from before, like a action and reaction? But,
yeah.
Is there anything for that for chaos theory, or?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know it too deeply. I remember, when I was little, I was like thinking about, wait a minute, if like physics does this and like, everything just moves according to different forces, then everything's kind of determined and there's one way for things to go.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. But then when you bring that on like, the level of like day-to-day activity, I don't know, it's interesting to think that, the reason I'm moving this way is just because something in my little particles, got gravitated towards each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, right? And like, or I was talking to Harry, and he goes, if you were to, he just put it so brilliantly. Like, I feel like if you were to press rewind and press play again, like everything would happen in the same way. And
yeah.
I don't know. To me, that starks me a little bit, but it's it's an interesting thought.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
There was some idea, if I make connections, that we talked about in Buddhism, called like the storehouse consciousness.
Okay.
It was compared to something, I think, from Freud as well, about, I forget the name that Freud had.
Yeah.
But, and there's the system of karma, which is kind of like your previous actions determine your current life standing points, and if something bad happens to you, that's just because you did something bad in the past life. So you're kind of burning off bad karma. And they say, we'll celebrate because you just burnt off some bad karma.
Oh, so it's like I've never heard of that, right?
Yeah. And then similarly, if something good happens to you, oh, that's just because you did something good in a past life. So don't think it's so fortuitous. No, this was meant to happen. Oh. And then there was this idea that like, oh, all the way karma works is that it's just something kind of like in your brain, and like any action you did is just kind of like stored in your brain subconsciously. Kind of like in the Freudian sense, it's like if you had some trauma that like sits in your subconscious and affects how you behave day to day. So I guess the comparison here is that like if you think about just every action you did in your like previously in life, I wouldn't try to speculate about a past life or something, but I can at least apply this to like one current life. Like thinking that everything you've done in the past is like affecting how you make decisions in the future. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I definitely think there's a lot to that. You know, like I'm a big person on vibes. I definitely feel like every single person carries every single memory, trauma, good thing, bad thing that's ever happened to us, and like every inch of our bones and bodies, right? And and a lot of that too has also been supported by my acting background. Like you can tell when somebody's not into character. You can tell when you look at somebody like, that's not that character. There's something to that. I mean, humans, I feel like our subconscious minds are so powerful, yet we choose to ignore it a lot of the time. And I think every memory really sticks and resonates with us, and I feel like people can read it. I think people understand who you are very quickly, much quicker than like people give themselves credit for. But I think there's a reason why, you see cliques forming really quickly. I mean, you saw first month of college, like cliques form like that.
Yeah.
And you always notice like there was always people that could vibe well, and there was certain things that just like made people gravitate towards one another. And I think a big part of that is just how much how much of ourselves like we, I guess, put on our facades and on the outside that we can just read like that. And I've noticed in myself, like as I've matured and changed, the types of people that I've gone along with quickly, or the types of people that have approached me, or just surface level conversation has changed and it's augmented. And I think those big changes where I've noticed, okay, this is a completely different group of people, has been when I've overcome something, and it's almost like some sort of rebirth, and all of a sudden everything in life changes. It's never an isolated event. Or even just like some days I'll be happier, and all of a sudden like 10, 20, 30 good things happen to me. And if I'm not feeling good, all of a sudden I feel like everything's disappearing, vibes are just off, and I think we carry so much more than we ever realize. And I think that's why good things happen to good people. I think there's a lot to that. And
yeah, I think some of it's like your mentality. Like if you're feeling good, you're way more likely to notice the good things.
Yeah.
And way more likely to brush off any negative things there.
Yeah.
Now, I think the key is like, if you can feel that way and notice that way when you're not feeling in a good mood. And then that can guide you towards a good mood. It's an interesting thing.
Maybe even tricking people to think you're in a good mood, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a good thing too is, people want to help, good people. We all want to. And when people are happy or want to be around you, it's you change a lot of things.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to be around someone that's like down in the dumps.
Yeah.
You
don't want to be around someone pessimistic. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like there's a difference between people are we're fluid, like personalities, right? Like people will become pessimistic, will become like sad, depressed, whatever from time to time, but it's very different than like a pessimistic person.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I know I've had moments where like know someone or hang out with them, and then I realize, wait a minute, this person like is just very pessimistic all the time, and I've never heard them express like joy for something, and then it just kind of snaps you out of it, and it's like, wait a minute, why do I enjoy time with this person if they don't seem to enjoy anything there?
Yeah, I get really self-conscious about that too. Like I've noticed that for me, I've always been like a person that said something great but always afterwards, right? And I've noticed like people were like, why do you feel like so pessimistic about all these like things? I'm like, I'm not. I'm like really happy about it. I was like, what are you talking about? Like you said something great, and then he was like completely just trashed on it.
Yeah.
And I really noticed, like, especially since moving to college, how much, like, just changing slight vocabulary and has really affected the way your message gets across. I think it's probably the most important thing is really, because sure, what you're saying is probably the most important, but I think how you say it almost supersedes it, because it's like retention rate. If you're saying something great but you can't retain people and they don't like the way it's delivered, it just doesn't go through at all.
Yeah.
And it's been a really big thing for me, is like realizing those things that I've always done, just like those small things that just kind of put people away, or realize like it wasn't giving the vibe that I wanted to give off. And it's hard to analyze those things, but I think as I've tried, I've been able to find them slowly but surely, and I think it's been like a big change. I don't think there's been anything. I don't think I've had a bigger change in my life than in those last 2 months. As an individual, I mean, I stand differently, talk differently. I mean, my friend group, social circles are just completely different than what they were in high school and middle school and elementary school.
Nice, yeah.
But I feel like it all comes down to vibes.
I remember when I was looking at colleges and like someone said something about like feel the vibes of it. Yeah. And then my dad, like kind of laughed at that. It was like, it just sounds kind of funny to say that. And then he would always say like, oh, you're going to Santa Barbara because you like the vibe.
But I feel like it's important. He came around to that. I mean, you have to be in a place that you want to be around,
Yeah, no, for sure. And that you feel comfortable.
And especially for you with CCS. I think that's really been huge.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's just, something very unique to have.
Yeah, is there anything with CCS that's like coming to fruition right now, or
how's that?
Any classes? I mean, like your said graduate level class you're taking right now.
Yeah, that one's fun.
What is it?
It's 220A, so it's modern algebra. So that covers like group theory in this quarter. Okay. And group theory is a lot about symmetry and like classifying what types of symmetries you can find.
In what?
In nature and in mathematical nature. So in other math or physics.
Okay. Do you have a particular example you really like, or?
A good example is, does this lift up?
Probably yeah, but feel free to pick it up. Yeah.
So like a cube.
Uh-oh. Whoops. Just be a little careful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Salty. yeah, well, it's a block of salt.
I know. Yeah. I don't go around just looking at any random rock. But like a cube would have symmetry in that you can rotate it this way.
Yeah.
That one is still the same shape. Or this way.
Okay.
Or many other ways that I won't try and manipulate.
Here. I can give you this Rubik's Cube.
Oh, that's much more reasonable, yeah. But you have just different rotations or orientations.
Yeah.
But every action can be kind of like undone, or you can like kind of just do nothing.
Right. I mean, you go forward 10 feet, you can go back 10 feet.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So that constitutes like a group. Just anything where you have just a bunch of different actions on it, and you can undo them.
Yeah. Is a Rubik's Cube solved by group theory?
Actually, yeah. There's like a lot of group theory.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So like the different actions you have of the different rotations or whatnot.
And is it like permutations too?
Yeah. So it kind of just permutes where all the stickers, I suppose, are. But a lot of study is like different ways you can split up groups into products of multiple ones, or kind of you have a subgroup, which is just a smaller, like a choice of, we can only allow these actions. But
where's group theory like applied, right? Because I mean, people always ask, like, or the whole joke with math is like, I don't have to do this because I'm never going to have to use this in my real life. But like, where is this used?
I mean, a nice way to look at it is, when did people start asking questions about it? Mm-hmm. I don't actually know too many places. I don't know too much of the history of that.
Yeah.
But it really can get applied in like any problem where you have some symmetric object and you just want to know. Like, a lot of times it's useful to reduce a problem by the different symmetries of it. Like, we don't have to check all of these corners. We can just check one because they're all symmetric.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah, that's a short summary.
Yeah.
But that's been a nice class. It's a lot of It should be going. The midterm went well. The final should go pretty well. The lectures have been neat. Yeah.
Is there anything in math that you like want to research in particular? Like any like question that nags at your mind, or your prime number theorem? Didn't that get solved?
Yeah, I mean, so the prime number theorem is one that was like classically solved. I think Euler and Riemann and some others did a lot of the headway on it. There's a guy here, Yatong Zhang.
Like SV?
Here.
Yeah.
There's the prime gaps theorem, or like bounded prime gaps.
What is
twin
that?
Prime conjecture. So the twin prime is that there's like, so 3 and 5, those are twin primes because they're 2 apart.
Okay, so only separated by an even number.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
of course, why do we not see it separated by 1? Well, that would give you an even and an odd.
Yeah.
The only primes separated by 1 are 2 and 3.
Right, because every even number is just divisible by 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's conjectured that there's infinitely many pairs of twin primes. So 3 and 5, 5 and 7, 11 and 13, 17 and 19.
Have we proven that it's infinite?
Well, we haven't, no. But what we have proven is something called bounded gaps. So there's infinitely many pairs of primes who are less than or equal to 70 million apart.
What?
So the original conjecture is that ones that are 2 apart or less than or equal to 2 apart.
Okay.
We've proven that there's infinitely many whose distance is less than or equal to 70 million.
I'm sorry, this is still not proper. So
So if you take... Like,
so instead of 2, it's 70 million.
Yeah.
And we've proven that there's infinitely...
So if you just look at all the primes...
Have we proved that there's an infinite number of primes?
Yeah. So that one's actually very well known.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, that one was known by Euclid and the Greeks in like 2,000 years ago. And probably even prior to that in other civilizations.
I guess I'm 2,000 years behind, but...
That's alright. I'll catch you up.
Okay, so the infinite number of primes, and we've proven that the largest gap between them has to be less than 70 million.
Yeah, I mean, you can have ones with larger gaps, but there's infinitely many of a gap that size or less.
What do you mean, larger, sequential primes that are like infinitely, like over 70 million?
Yeah. Like the nth prime, the n plus 1th prime.
Yeah, all of them are less than 70 million.
No. You can have ones further, but this is just saying that if you look at the sequence of all primes, you can just at any point I'd say, okay, throw away the first 100 or the first 1,000 or the first million.
Yeah.
You can still go, and after those first million, find me 2 primes that are at most 70 million apart.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was proven by a professor here, Yatong Zhang.
Oh, nice.
And then recently he's come out with some other stuff.
Yeah.
About like these things called Landau-Siegel zeros or something, and which is connected to the Riemann hypothesis. But that I don't know as much about. I
remember reading, or I was watching a YouTube video about like a 17-year-old is now at MIT that solved the Riemann hypothesis.
I mean, that wouldn't be true, but I think I've heard about that guy. I forget what exactly he did, but he did something.
He did something big, right?
He did something about they're called like pseudo primes or something, and they like satisfied some certain property that primes also satisfied. Okay. But no, and he's at MIT doing who knows what. But that's pretty neat.
Maybe we gotta have him on.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, Boston's a little far, but
I
mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got group theory, prime number theory. Anything else that?
Poetry and mathematics.
I'm sorry, poetry?
I'm just making shit up. No, my friend and I were debating about like what were we talking about? We were talking about something, and I was just riffing off and being silly. Yeah. I was like, I think we need. He's asking about if you can axiomatize kind of like life or stuff, or really asking if you can axiomatize mathematical intuition, like human intuition for math. Yeah. Like, I think the real numbers should behave that way, and this should behave that way.
So it's like the fundamental axiom, I think, therefore I am.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I guess, what are some axioms of life that you've found in your own?
I'm not sure if I could name anything. I'm not sure if there should be anything concrete. Yeah. I like the Archimedes quote. What's it? Aristotle. Like, the only thing I know is that I know nothing. Yeah. But, I think that's a good one to hold true. to never think that you got it all figured out.
Yeah, it gets a little scary, right? Like, I think that's been the another huge thing for me for like, coming to college is like realizing like I'm nowhere near anywhere I was like who I thought I was, you know?
Yeah.
Especially like meeting like all the CCS physics kids and everything. I was like, oh, okay, this is a completely different world. And
yeah,
I really do think that the most dangerous thing a person can do is trap themselves in a bubble. I think it's almost a little sad just how much people, you know, maybe in social bubbles or information bubbles, and it's,
yeah,
I don't know, there's so much of this world to see, and I mean, you can get too complacent. That's the thing. I feel like our natural instinct is to become a little complacent, get a little lazy, fall into rhythms, and
yeah,
you know, and you really lose a lot really quickly when you get into rhythms.
It's a little sad when you got a rhythm and you know, oh, I'm doing this and then this and then that.
Yeah, I mean, even just like look at
it almost sounds like you're losing any free will there.
Yeah, and you lose time. You know, I remember like first week of school, like that was such a long week. I mean, I remember getting to the end of the day and be like, wow, I felt like it was a week ago, and then now I'm like thinking of things that happened 2 weeks ago, and I felt like it happened yesterday. Just because at first there wasn't a rhythm to life, and then now like, everything's consistent. Go to the same classes at the same time, homework's due at the same days. Yeah, and it's like I'm really trying to like just break that.
Yeah, I've been too. I've been on a streak of like just kind of getting into a rhythm of like not branching out and seeing different people, but just kind of going to the same people, and they're lovely. But I should also push myself to do more. Yeah,
and be sporadic. Although there is one rhythm that I want to add back into my life because I feel like it really helped me a lot. Like especially with finding like inner peace was seeing the sunset every day. That was one of the things that I told myself I was going to do coming to school, and I was doing really well until the time change.
Oh yeah.
Just because I was getting out of class and then walking over to the beach, and seeing the sunset over the water. I love seeing it just melt over the water. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But then now I get out of class like as the sun's setting, and you know there was something ritualistic about just going to the beach and seeing it set over the water.
I need to go to the beach soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we got here and everyone went to the beach the first couple of days because it's right there, and then now,
you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then you take it for granted. I grew up in Santa Cruz, but like you didn't go to the beach as often as I should have.
Right. I mean, you were right there. I mean, birthplace of surfing.
Yeah, pretty much. I never surfed.
Really? Have you tried surfing here at all?
I've been meaning to. I haven't yet, but...
Well, we should go.
We should.
I mean, Casey and I, we have 2 boards out there. We go all the time.
Nice.
Not as much since the time change, but we're trying to change that, especially before the water gets really cold.
Mm-hmm. Is it not very cold already?
It is, but it's manageable, especially if you're swimming or paddling around. Okay. It's not that bad. But it was really nice. We were going right at sunset. Like right at sunset. And that's actually where the company came from. Like the idea with the photo.
Oh.
Because on the back of the shirt, it's between the 2 rocks, you see the sun setting next to the oil rig. And that's Santa Barbara. Yeah, because when you paddle out to Campus Point, that's what you see. And there's something to that for us.
Oh, well, that's really cool. Yeah.
But
did you catch the sunset today?
Did I? I don't think so. No. What are they doing? I came back and set up the lights for this. I got a little too excited. I came out of class.
It's a fun thing to get excited about.
Yeah. I mean, it's episode 1. Hopefully, one of I don't even know. I don't know. Just want to have as many people as I can, and I feel like there's a lot to long form content in particular, and especially conversations, and there's a lot to get wrong, but I think there's a lot more to get right. And I've always felt personally too, like I learned almost everything I know off of YouTube, and I feel like a lot of it was just because it was talking. It was Jacob Collier talking to me about music theory.
Yeah.
And breaking everything down, or like all these physics podcasts or different things, right? It was like talking to me. And like that's what my goal with this is. I really want to just have professors on, and I don't think there's a better time in the world for me to start this other than now, because it's like I have access to everyone, like
a lot of cool people.
I mean, it's almost like too many, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
We need some uncool people here.
Yeah.
Some just schmucks.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like just almost everyone I've met has been like cool in some way.
Yeah.
And
I definitely was feeling that a lot, especially meeting everyone early on in the year, because it was like, wait a minute, yeah, everyone kind of wrote, an application, had something interesting to say.
Yeah. And even like while I was traveling, right? Like travelers themselves are pretty cool, but I definitely felt like there was more to the Santa Barbara kids. There's something here.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, backpacking was, these people decided to just get up from the fucking couch and go to some random country. But I don't know. Even here, there's just something's different. I don't know what it is, but I think it might be that like you're taking the kids that like want to do well academically, but also want to be next to the beach and party. There's something to that, and I mean, look at you. Not to call you out, but you were the one, grooving all around at the silent disco.
I was.
I mean, and you move, and there's.
That's a fun thing. I can definitely recommend that to anyone. I would just go up to like at a party and just start doing my own thing, just going around. And then people would just like be going crazy, and it's like, "Whoa, you're so awesome!" I think I got called the life of the party a few times there. And
well, it's true though.
It's simple.
I don't think I've really seen people move like you, man. I've done my fair share of clubbing, and it's a unique sight to see.
Yeah, all right then.
I think the thing about it too is, and this is just kind of carried by your whole persona in the best way. It's like you don't care.
Oh.
About how people perceive you. You care about a lot of other things, right? Like, but you don't care if people view you negatively or don't care about your dancing or whatnot. You're there to. Would you like some more?
I'm good for now, I think.
Yeah. You're there to move and groove because you like the music and you want to vibe and.
That's definitely true. And if I'm there, I hear the music, I just keep going there because that's what I like to do. I don't know, it's only natural there.
Is there any like specific like styles of music that make you groove a little bit more? Or?
I don't know, anything with good bass maybe.
Good bass.
Not even that. You don't even need that. I don't know. I'll get down to whatever I think.
Have you like looked into like music history and like spiritual chants and all that? Like,
no, I haven't. No.
You get into some like pretty weird territory.
Well, shit, I'm not sure how I groove to like a Gregorian chanting or something, but
yeah. I mean,
but I definitely feel that way about a lot of things. Just like I'll be like dancing around IV or just
like through the streets.
Or, through the streets. Like
I'm telling you,
like
you're
in La La
different.
Land or something. I haven't seen the movie, but I assume they're like swinging around street poles or something.
No.
No? Oh well, shit. Never mind.
I mean, in like 2 scenes, but.
Okay, well those 2 scenes.
Yeah. I mean, they shut down the LA freeway, and then they're in like the Griffith Observatory, but they dance a little bit. Yeah.
Right, well, I suppose I dance more than that.
Hey, in spirit.
I don't know. It's a fun thing to do, just to go out there and do that.
Yeah. It's a sight to see. And like to go like call back on the Santa Barbara kids. I think that's been one of my favorite things. Seeing some of those brilliant people I've ever met, and then like hearing their stories of DP.
Yeah.
And it's like, or just going out and you're at some band party and you're seeing, not to be rude in some sort of way, but you're seeing like the nerds and you're like, well, like, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely there. Like, they're probably looking at me the same way, especially after talking to me about like physics or whatever. But it's like you're partying around and you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, like, what do you want to do with your life? And it's like, oh, I want to become a doctor, or I'm working on some sort of, bioengineering project. And you just see them like at some band party having the time of their life on a Thursday. It's like, should you be studying right now? But it's like you see people here talk all the time and be like, oh, like, how do you know that person? Oh, like I saw him at a party one time and we just clicked and now like we're homies, and
yeah.
There's something to that.
Yeah, it has been fun to like, one of the like really cool math people I know. I was talking with him. He's like, oh yeah, I had this story on DP and this and that. And it's very funny to see that.
Like here?
What?
Math professor?
No, a student. Another student.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's just been neat to see that, and it's cool to see people having a balance between that.
Yeah.
Not shutting themselves to one side or the other.
I think it like humanizes us too, right?
Yeah, I think it does when you realize, oh wait, I can also just hang out with this person or like goof off with them or something.
Right,
it's a good like, thing to do.
Everyone's having a good time, and it like really like it bridges gaps, you know, because now it no longer becomes about like, oh, this person's this major, this person's about this, like they're in that group. It's just we're here to have fun, you know. At this time, nothing matters. Well, the only thing that matters is I want to be around the person that's having the most fun.
Yeah,
and I feel like you're able to connect with people that you would never have ever talked to, never even seen in those situations.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, half the time too, you start talking about something like deep or like highly intellectual while like this loud music's playing around, and I mean, it's an interesting place. Right?
Yeah.
In college, it's just like isolated but connected, and especially Santa Barbara, right? I mean, we're just far enough from LA that we're like we don't really get too much of his influence, but we're really close.
Yeah, like I've gone down.
Right? Yeah. I mean, went for Fognon, like it's only an hour, and it's a really weird balance of like this isolated, like perfect paradise that's still very much connected to the rest of the world and really making a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, Nobel laureates here, even just like all the big engineering companies that are in Goleta and Santa Barbara. It's like. I don't know, man. California is fascinating.
Place,
yeah, it's island but connected to the entire world. Right?
Yeah. It's very pretty. I driving up back home.
Yeah.
Really pretty drive. Pismo Beach was really pretty with the sun. Everything it was almost the golden hour, but it's more yellow. The ocean was really shimmering, and you could see little rocks standing out in that, and that was really pretty.
Yeah.
And it was a really nice spot. I was like, I've never been to Pismo Beach, but it'd be a cool place to go for like a weekend or so.
Yeah, I really need to see the north. I've been to San Francisco once for one day, and then stayed in Santa Clara for one day for a choir competition. Other than that, I haven't seen anything up there. I mean, furthest north I've been for a prolonged period of time is here.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you grew up in LA, right?
Yeah, but our east of LA, San Bernardino Highland.
Okay.
But yeah, there's like, I mean, even LA I never really got to see until I got my car.
Wow,
and yeah, it was like post-COVID and senior year and gap year. My friend was going to UCLA, so I would go visit her, and we would do all these fun adventures. But I really I didn't really see much of the world. I mean, I haven't seen San Diego, I haven't seen LA, like just now kind of figuring that out. And like the rest of California, like, and it's gorgeous, and there's great people, and I mean, it's really big too.
Yeah.
And you go up north with like all the big redwood trees and.
Yeah. I know, like Humboldt, my mom and her parents, like my grandparents, last year or so, like went up to Humboldt there.
Yeah.
And almost on the border of, and I think they went into Oregon. It was super cool to see that, and I'd never been there either. And I saw, she was showing the photos a few days ago over Thanksgiving. It was like, whoa, that's really pretty. Just a lot of different geography, or I don't know, biomes in California.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
I mean, even Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's got the redwoods. It's got the ocean.
Yeah, those mountains are pretty big, right on the ocean, right? Like,
yeah, and like, I mean, you got the ocean right there, and then you'll go over to like Scotts Valley or so. There's a lot of big open mountains there.
Yeah, just towers over. I mean, I think that's like the biggest thing that I think I've taken for granted. It's like mountains.
Yeah, I like having. I feel like weird when I'm not oriented of like. There's oceans here and mountains behind me.
Yeah. Like
when I've been in the Midwest, it's like, it feels oddly claustrophobic in like the opposite sense.
Yeah.
But there's no border around me. I'm not like, I pictured some little like artsy rendition of it, of like some, just sleeping with like the mountains as your backrest there.
Right.
Like your feet in the water.
You know, ironically you say claustrophobic too, because in some ways you'd think it'd be more open.
Yeah.
But it's not. But it feels... It feels much more closed.
I think it feels like that when it's all open, that there's nowhere to go, and you're kind of just trapped by like if I move somewhere, I didn't move at all. Whereas when you have these boundaries, you moved and you actually did move.
Yeah, and I think there's something really like humbling too about being on the ocean and in the mountains, right? It's like you really get to see like just how insignificant you are, especially here. It's like these mountains are like absolutely ginormous. Like you go on the 8th floor of the library, it's they tower over everything. You can't even see the tops of them. And you look on the other side, and you see infinite vast ocean. And it's just like, okay, and then there's me, and there's something like liberating to the fact that it's like I'm insignificant, right? It's like, okay, you can take that and kind of like murk in it and not really do anything, but something nice like all the things that I feel like are dragging me down don't matter, and I can just be happy and be the best version of myself. And like I don't know, there's something about the fact of just being alive. Like every once in a while, like I'll just be like driving, I'm like not really, like this is actually happening. And whether or not like simulation or whatever, it's at the end of the day, the only thing I can know is that I wake up in the morning and I'm in this reality. And I get to do what I want.
Yeah. I would use that kind of when, like, sometimes I was thinking, like, oh, shoot, I got this problem or this is going badly. Then I realized, wait, if I don't think about these and I just look at, like, wait, I'm having a great time and I can just, like, keep going and doing this and that.
Yeah.
And that's helped me realize, okay, even if I do have some problems with, like, what's going on, overall it actually doesn't really.
Yeah.
There's no real fundamental problem.
Yeah, it also makes me a little sad sometimes. It's like I really I want to smile more. Smile at people, wave at people, because it's just like there's so much joy that I get just from being alive and being here, and I really want to, I guess, like exploit that in some sense. Like I felt like for a lot of my time on this planet, I haven't been the happiest person, and now that I've been finding that, like I really want to share that and help. I feel like everyone's lost in their own unique way.
Yeah.
Even the people we feel that are like have it the most figured out, they're still lost in some sort of way.
Yeah, no, they definitely, yeah.
Human condition, and there's something nice to being the person people can rely on, like that, the foundation for other people. And even though you won't be the statue of their life and of their world, there's something nice about saying, hey, I was a foundation for that. And that's good because, I can be the statue for my life. I don't have to be the statue and the thing that's most important to everyone else. Like, I can be the foundation. I can be the soil, and just be something sturdy.
Yeah, someone to be relied on, rather, or you could be like the cool person that everyone looks at and it's like, oh, I want to be like them. But it feels a bit more satisfying to just be like someone to rely on. Right,
yeah. It's like the quiet thing working in the background as opposed to this, like, I don't know, like bombastic figure.
Yeah, it feels a bit more noble in some ways.
Yeah, and it's honestly nicer too, because like I've definitely seen myself like teeter on both sides, where it's like I want to be noticed. I mean, the acting background, right?
Yeah.
But I've always felt like I've had the most sincere relationships with those people when, it's like all was said and done, and at the end they're like, I know it felt like I didn't appreciate you as much or whatever, but I always appreciated your consistent support. It wasn't about these grand peaks and valleys. It was just about having a nice baseline. I mean, Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world, not because its peak is so much higher than its base. It's because its base is already so high.
Yeah.
Everything's elevated, and that's why it gets to shine. Yeah. There's something nice about like doing that for other people.
Yeah, I've been thinking, like, when I came here, like, I realized at the beginning I was like saying hi to everyone, knew a ton of random people there.
Yeah.
But then as it kind of started to go on, I started to like just be closer with a smaller group of people.
Right, naturally, yeah.
And I think in high school I didn't have as much of that. Like, I had a few close friends there, but like we weren't even as close as I think I am with some other people here.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to just have a group that you can always be with there.
Yeah, the consistency. Right.
But then you need to shake it up a bit. Like, I've been thinking, like, I should also go out and talk to those random people more.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I've been trying to balance that.
I think the key is treating college like it's kindergarten again. You know, like just sitting next to someone and just feeling like I want to be your friend.
Yeah. I did that at breakfast a few times. I've been meaning to do it more.
Yeah,
although it feels a little less natural now.
It does. But I think the hard part is getting yourself out of those rhythms, you know? And even for myself, you know, I guess I'm not one to speak because I don't necessarily think I've cold, like, approached anyone recently, but, you know, I definitely try my best to, you know, because you're always meeting new people here. You know, if you're with somebody, they know, you know, 100 more people that you don't, you know, and there's always ways to connect. And I definitely think that's been the key thing that's made my college experience so far what it's been is, like, always just trying to say hello to people when given the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you do that. We were in the library the other day, and you were on there. I feel like when I'm with some friends, I feel like I'm that guy, like at DLG or something. But I was like, wow, you've outclassed me there. I'm happy.
Yeah, well, there's too many great people on this planet just not to get to know them. Yeah. You know, my favorite quote of all time is from my dear friend Matthew. And he told me, you have friends everywhere, you just haven't met them yet. Remember that.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
I pulled up my phone and was like, you have to say that again. I need to write that down. Because, you know, I feel like there's a way for everybody to connect with anybody in any way. There's some way for that. And we forget that, you know, we're all living life on this, like, stupid little planet. You know, completely lost. And, you know, like, the people that are mean to you or, you know, or aren't nice to you, like, there's a reason for that. You know, we're all struggling, and, you know, sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's not, but, you know, there's a way to make amends, and it's just, everyone's cool. Hey, everyone is cool, everyone has a unique story. I think there's a reason for that, too, you know? There's a reason we're all different. I think there's a reason why we all look different. Even though doppelgangers exist, there's still differences, right? Yeah. And even identical twins end up looking different. Like, I don't know, there's something to that. I find it interesting, right? And that's another thing, is like, I've definitely wanted to quiet down and just listen more. Because I think people have a lot more to offer than I ever give themselves credit for. Yeah. It's a really big goal of mine is to just listen.
Yeah. Me too. I was talking with my roommate Brandon. He's a wonderful guy. Yeah. And we were talking this one day, about like listening to people and really attentively listening. I've been practicing that in some regards there, and it's been nice. But it's always a skill that you can keep. Practicing. One thing I really notice with friends is like, I think sometimes one gets the instinct to like give advice when someone shares some situation they're in. Or say, oh, you should have done that, or you shouldn't have done that, or that was good or bad. Right. But I think realizing that can often alienate someone else.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
Like, because it's like, whatever they did, they had their own rationale for it. That was their life. They were living that. They had, you know, they told you some of it, but there were probably other things that influenced them that they didn't tell you. Yeah. So you kind of never know. It's like, you know, something you hear a lot, but you never know someone's whole situation. But if you're hearing something, if you're listening to someone, I think it makes a lot of sense just to listen instead of try and give advice or comments or just take it for what it is. If they want advice, then of course it makes sense to do that. But I've been practicing recognizing that.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is like when I give advice too, I always preface with like I'm never telling you what to do. Like I want you to make that action for yourself. Like I'm gonna give my opinion, but make your action, and I'll support you through that. Yeah. Even if it's not necessarily the thing that I would do or I would advise, that's okay, you know? Yeah. People should live life differently than I do. Yeah.
And obviously there's moments when, like, oh, I really want to step in. But that hasn't happened yet.
Right, yeah. And those are extremes, and, you know...
And those are pretty obvious calls to make.
And those are the exceptions, not the rule, right? You can't live life only looking at exceptions. Yeah. Because, nothing gets done. Yeah. But yeah. Dude, Andrew, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I'm really happy that we got to do episode 1 together.
Yeah, this is really cool.
I don't think you realize how long I've like looked forward to doing this. Like it's been something that's been in the back of my mind for a very long time, and I don't think there's been anyone better to do number 1 with. And we'll definitely have you back on. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'm honored there. It was a really fun time.
Yeah.
I really like the idea. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the light and everything.
I like the space a lot, too. This is wonderful.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, there we go.
Cool. We'll cut it. See where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Just under 54 minutes.